This is Car Con Carne, presented by Alex Ross Art, alexrossart.com. If you haven't been to Alex's website in a while, I have so much fun just scrolling through, looking at all of his original artwork. Alex Ross, one of the all-time greats in the history of comics, graphic novels, superhero reimagining. His stuff is so good. His paintings are jaw-dropping. If you're looking for something really special for your walls, alexrossart.com. If you just are a fan and want to keep up with Alex Ross, cool. He has a YouTube page, and he'd love for you to subscribe. Here's Alex.
Hi, this is Alex Ross. I appreciate you guys supporting our YouTube, and we create new content every week. I hope you will continue to support us, and please subscribe.
Car Con Carne is also sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. Transform your living space with cutting-edge home automation. Experience seamless control over audio, video, lighting, security, climate, and more. Embrace the future of smart living. Your home, your rules. Get it all connected. Get a quote by visiting easy-automation.net or call my guy Dan. He's awesome. He wants to talk to you. Call Dan, 630-730-3728, 630-730-3728. Before I introduce my guest for this episode, I want to mention that nearly 1 in 5 kids in the U.S. is battling a disease for which there is no cure. My friends at Bounce Children's Foundation have a fundraiser happening. It's at the Telegram Lounge of the Old Post Office on February 9th. Cool spot. The event's going to help fund programs that enable more than 2,400 chronically ill children, their siblings, and their parents. Food guy Steve Dolinsky is the MC for the event. That's cool. Learn more about Bounce Children's Foundation at bouncechildrensfoundation.org. Hopefully you can help out with that. All right, with that, podcast time.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Okay, so I recorded pre-roll ads. I recorded a PSA for a friend's charity in a totally different location from where I'm at right now. So if you're watching on video, I'm in a different place. I've moved on to a different place. I'm James Van Alstyne. To my right is returning guest, returning favorite, Dr. Daryl Wilson.
Hello,
of the
everybody.
Bollweevils.
Yay.
And to explain, I was scheduled to record an interview at a location. I'm not going to name names. I don't want to call the person out.
Nope.
The person forgot that we had an interview today. That said, it is the coldest day we've had in a very long time. It is 0 degrees. The wind chill's somewhere around 20 below. I made the trip out to this location with my equipment. I'm like, I'm not going to waste this day. I'm not going to have this forgetful guest torpedo my recording. I'm like, Who do I know in this undisclosed area? Dr. Daryl Wilson of the Bollweevils.
He made me come out in the cold weather. I just said on the news, if it's 0 below, do you really need to go? Well, I had to, because this undisclosed location is very close to my mi casa. So
It's very close.
very close.
Some might say it's the driveway.
Some might say it's the driveway. That's a metaphor for a lot of places. The driveway, you're driving up and figure it out. I mean, it's an easy walk in the cold to get to this location.
So the lesson here is, when things go in a direction you didn't want them
call
to go
me up
in,
and I'll come out and do something for you.
Call
That's
the
what it is.
doctor.
Yes, call me up.
in an interesting twist, make a house call to
Yes,
the doctor.
Make that you did, and then you came out like a bandit with all kinds of things.
I did. I visited the Bollweevils merch table, which is
my basement.
which is your basement. It should be mentioned, I should have had this. I should have bought this a long time ago.
Oh no, you shouldn't have.
I'm sure I should have. The new Bollweevils record on handsome Red Scare vinyl.
Yes.
Here it is. More importantly, here he is,
Look
Dr.
at that.
Daryl Wilson,
Warmer days.
doing his hyperkinetic, airborne, Cirque du Soleil punk rock thing.
Cirque du Soleil. I'm not a contortionist.
You're not, but you're Ariel.
I am Ariel, and I'm not the Little Mermaid Ariel, but I'm Ariel. Most definitely.
You're not. So it is Car Con
Walt
Carne.
Disney.
I do like to have food with guests.
Yes.
So at this undisclosed location with Dr. Daryl Wilson of the Bollweevils, we have fresh baked vegan banana bread.
Yes, my
Which
wife
is
made it.
this
my
is-
little one and my wife made it. So
The Wilson family made vegan banana bread.
Yes.
Which on a day like today, again, it is, if you're from the greater Chicago area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This weather is horrible. This is stay inside weather.
the hawk weather.
It is. And what a great time to bake, hang
Yes.
out, cook.
Watch Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I walked in this undisclosed location and smelled the banana bread like fresh out of the oven.
Yes, it was, and it was cooling, and you've got a nice, warm piece of bread
You remember in the old Looney Tunes cartoon?
where there's a wafting air and you're
Yes.
floating in.
And they'd be like scent fingers and then they'd
Yes.
hook Bugs Bunny by the nose.
Yes.
That's the way I felt when I walked into this undisclosed
I
location.
saw you floating.
I was.
I
So
saw
can
you
we
floating.
can we have the banana bread?
Yes, we can. It's car con carne we're supposed to eat
Yes. Thank you. I drove all the way out here
for banana bread.
for banana bread. Here we go.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
That's good.
Thank you, Wilson family.
And my little one wants to keep saying she made it with my wife. They both did it. My youngest and my wife, and it's really good.
It's really good. I love fresh banana bread.
We made some for the neighbors too, so we sent some to them, which is really nice. Check on your neighbors. It's really cold.
Okay, so you were on NBC. Reach out to you. Just to be a medical expert about these horrible conditions.
Well, it doesn't take a medical expert to tell you to stay inside. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's like I made up some rhymes and stuff. I had some other ones I wanted to say, but I couldn't. Like, hey, check on your neighbors. Make sure you plow your neighbors' driveways for them. Or, everybody likes to have their snow blown. So make sure you do your neighbors a snow job
That's right.
and blow their snow.
This year, right before the holidays, I bought myself a a tiny little
Vibrator?
battery-powered vibrator. I got it at Target. It's been a faithful companion ever since. No, Dr. Daryl Wilson of the Bollweevils. I bought myself a battery-powered snowblower
Okay.
because I live in a house on a corner, and whenever it snows, it's a lot of work. Like I've got to go from the alley to the corner, then the corner to the neighbor's house, and then the back path. It's a lot of work. I needed a snowblower. I don't like gas snowblowers.
Oh, really?
I can never get that oil mix right.
Oh.
And when it craps out and I have to pull the ripcord or whatever it's
Well,
called.
you got an electric start one.
Well, I went one better and I got one that's battery powered and it's delightful. It makes a cute little noise.
How long does the battery last?
Long enough for my house.
Would it last in this undisclosed location?
What I'm looking at right now, no.
Well, then there you go.
No. But it's a little petite one. It can take tight turns. But I kind of thought for a while there that because I bought the snowblower, I was the one preventing snow from happening.
You might have been. And then that whole idea fell apart entirely.
I didn't get much. I live closer to the lake, so I didn't.
Oh, yeah, didn't get much snow. Well, I mean, we didn't get a lot, but I mean, it's enough.
So,
I had to snow plow it the other day. It was crazy.
So we're here at the beginning of January, beginning-ish of January. Bollweevils had a great year.
We did. It was fun. It was a good fun year.
And we talked last time you were on was my 900th episode that we did with Deanna from Sincere Engineer and Josh from the Popes and Tom from Plain White Tees.
Great time.
And we talked about the year that was. We talked about Essential. Mm-hmm. And we talked about Essential the last time you and I were one-on-one on this podcast, but when we ate at Pita Inn and you broke some of the equipment.
I did. Do I owe you for that? Is this like a reckoning?
It's a
End of the
shakedown.
year. Now it's time for you to pay
A
up.
shakedown. I've got some guys here who are going to collect.
Rocco, Sluggo.
That's right. So that's the year that was. Have you started thinking about what this year means for the Bollweevils?
Yeah, I mean, trying to continue to move on that momentum, right?
I think there is momentum.
2023 was a good year. And we had a lot of great shows. The record came out, and really proud of that, and still am. I was going to be proud of that record. In fact, next week, exclusive for you to know, we're recording a new song next week. So 19th, 20th, 21st, we're going to be in the studio.
A Bollweevils original?
Yes, recording a new song. And we've been working on that for a bit. Ken just sent me some stuff about his backing vocals for it now, and we're excited about it. I mean, it's a really it's definitely another step in a direction for us of maturity and growth.
Maturity had to happen at some point.
Well, maybe at some point. I mean, everybody goes through it at some point. You might still not understand what you're really going through, but it's a growth for us, and I think we're trying to move off of that momentum. We had some changes with the band that happened at the end of the year, and that's good. Change is always something that's hard, but it's good, and we're going to be kind of coming in and maybe starting up in. Hopefully some stuff starting in early summer, late spring. So we'll start doing more stuff. So we're trying to plan out what we're going to be doing. I know there's a couple shows at the end of the year that we're already planning on doing.
At the end of the year?
Yeah, already for 2020. We got to plan these things out, man. That's
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, we got some stuff, for the end of the year. Had offers for things at the beginning of the year, but we, like I said, with the new makeup of the band now, with the transition of some stuff, kind of getting our feet back underneath us, because it was a big blow. It was a knockdown. You might have been there for the knockdown.
That was Reggie's.
Yes, you might have been there for the knockdown.
Had no idea what was going on at the moment, but here we are.
Right, here we are. I mean, that's the thing. You have to keep on moving in a different direction. So we're doing that, and excited to write new stuff. That's the thing. It's not going to be another 20 years before something comes out.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like last year, Bollweevils seemed like it became a full-time concern again. Obviously, it's not a full-time concern, but
right.
Everything felt a lot more front and center than it had been for a while.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I definitely could feel it, and it was exciting to have that. It felt like a brand new thing, despite us doing stuff for such a long time. Because a lot of people who knew us, it was like, wow, you're back doing stuff, but we always were. But it kind of felt like a new resurgence, and new people were on board, and old people were still on board and supporting. So that's great. And that momentum is, you got to build on that, right? You can't let the fire start up and then not stoke it.
Agreed.
So we're trying to stoke that fire. And so, like I said, we got this new song that we're going to be recording on over the weekend. And Ken's got, as he told us, he's got 5 more that he's got on the back burner waiting to be put forth. So we had a couple other ones that we were working on previously that we kind of let fall by the wayside that we can go back to. So we've got a bunch, and everybody's really on board to really make some new stuff.
So the question that comes to my mind, it's a question I bring up a lot, is that idea of creating a song at a time or developing an album. Is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? Does it matter?
I don't know. I think it's just the creative process is going to be fluid, right? Things hit you at times, and then suddenly you're either having a whole flow of things coming out at one point, or you just have one thing that hits you and you have to get it out of your system. And I think that you could do it either way, right? You could have a bunch of different things that you fully are on board with, and you put them together and you release them. Or you have this concept of an album, right? You have a concept of what you want to write about, your concept of things. And to me, when I'm writing something, Ked usually comes with the music, like you said, and it's all collaborative. And I'm usually thinking of a theme because the music feels like something.
Yeah.
It feels like, boy, this song reminds me of this specific feeling, or this specific topic, or this topic's been bothering me, and this music seems to kind of help me think about this more. And then finding the metaphors to kind of, put it together and not be so direct and hit you on the head. Like this song's about how individuals in relationships suddenly learn that relationships get really shitty at points. Then you got to find some way to make them better. So then you infuse some shit into it. And then sometimes it still doesn't fucking resuscitate the fucking relationship. I mean, that is a song concept. That could be the song that we're going to be playing the next couple of weeks this weekend.
As far as being a lyricist goes, you're not a strict storyteller. You're not Neil Young.
No, not at all. I mean, the story, there's a story underneath the song that is running through my head, and there's just points in the story that are actually being hit on in each of the verses, and the chorus is kind of the the meat that, or the bridge part that keeps it together. The choruses are usually the thing that you really want to hit with, right? That's for me, because it's a rousing thing where you have everybody singing along, and it's supposed to inspire something. And to me, like, the chorus is the meat, and then you've got the story and the narrative are the verses that get you to that part. And that's where everybody goes, oh yeah, I recognize it. And I think the choruses are what I really write about as the feeling of the theme of the song, right? And so it's usually metaphorical, and using references to things that I deal with in every day, and I look at it from a new perspective, like truly, like the initial name of the song, and I'll tell you, was DNR, Do Not Resuscitate. And then it was like, nah, it doesn't work. Because I wrote a whole thing about, we did this whole thing, made the song work. Then when we started doing it, I didn't like anything that I put together. It didn't work, and nobody else did. And so I had to go back to the drawing board and think about it more and listen to the song more. But I knew what my idea was. The concept of the song had to do with, how do you resuscitate a dead relationship? And that's what it was. And so, okay, it doesn't have to be DNR, it doesn't have to have the other references, but then it has references to things that go along with resuscitation. But it truly hits those things that happen in a relationship when it gets stale.
Would you consider writing a song called GNR?
I would never do that. I'm gonna slash that idea and say I'm not going to write that, because I can't take me down to some city that might be a paradise or not.
So you get music from Ken. Do you have a time or method to when you write lyrics? Like, do you need to sequester yourself at a certain time of day, or is it just, I'm going to figure this stuff out when it hits or when I have time? Because I know you're a busy guy.
Sometimes it hits me like in the middle of the night, like, right? So I keep a pad of paper, like I was saying, the thing next to the bed to like write things down, because I'll forget them. And it's like, oh my God, that's a theme. Sometimes there's no music. It's just the theme. Like I have to write this down. I mean, it's like journaling, right? I think anybody should do that. Journaling is a really good way to kind of get at core concepts of things and to kind of have this catharsis, to get stuff out of your head that bothers you, and taking the time to be still, just to kind of, okay, let me sit here, let me really evaluate what's going on, let me write something out to have me better understand it. Because sometimes you have to do that. You have to sometimes physically put something down on paper to know, what is this that I'm dealing with?
You have to put down all the bad ideas, the dumb ideas, to get to the good ones.
Yes, you do. And then some of them are, you think they're bad or dumb, but they're really not. It's like they just don't fit at the moment.
Yep.
And so they come back to them later. That's why if you journal, you can go back and, look at your journal and say, oh, wow, this is what I was thinking about right now. Sometimes I'm working and something will come up where I'm like, oh my God. And I got to first deal with the situation at hand with patient care. And then I'll like find like a scrap of paper and write down like lyrics for something. I mean, I swear that'll happen in the weirdest moments. So it's never like I have to like be sitting calm, meditating. Here it is. It's like I'll be like driving to Costco and then suddenly something comes up like, oh God, I got to write about the consumption of products and how it's a waste of time, but I'm here doing it. It's like that sometimes hits you.
And I mentioned it at the beginning of this episode, but you're a real doctor.
Yes.
I referred to you as Dr. Daryl Wilson, but for those who don't know you, you are a doctor. So all these references
Right.
are related to your career in medicine.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm writing about that because it is a way for me to somehow get the hits that I take every day doing that and getting them out of my system. It's a healthy way to do
do you take it home
that.
with you? Is that...
Yeah, you do. Everybody does. I mean, but then you have to find a way to stay healthy so that you don't, fall into the traps of, okay, I'm going to just drink myself to death, or I'm going to start hitting people, or I'm going to start, disparaging my family. It's like you can't do that. You have to find a healthy way, and the band is a healthy way for me to get rid of the residue of the day. Right?
I get that.
And it's important, and if I didn't have that, you write, you do something. You have to write, you have to read, you have to, you do have to take time to be still and not have the hustle and bustle of everything kind of just hit you like a big wave. So if the wave hits you, you got to be calm enough and serene enough to kind of just flow with it. And that's what you do.
I saw a meme, and I've seen various people share it, something along the lines of, give creative people the time to do nothing.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, because then you can truly have moments to really hear what your body or your brain or whatever is pushing you towards. So you have to have moments to be really still. And I'm like I say it all the time. I'm not some sage, guru sitting on top of some mountain who, stroking his white beard. Yes, come to me, young one. It's like, because I lose my shit all the time, So it's not like I'm winning every day, but I realize I have a chance to go again the next time, and that's the reality of it. And then one day I won't. I'll be dead. And that's it. But at least I left something good, I hope. That's a reality.
Hang on.
Incoming call.
Oh, what the?
That's my aunt.
Hey.
That's my Aunt Bunny.
Oh, hey.
I should have picked. You would love Aunt Bunny.
What, dude? Call her back.
I'm not going to call her back on the podcast, but you would really love Aunt Bunny. She would love you too.
I think so. I mean, she's
her name's actually Beverly, but she's gone by
Bunny.
Bunny since I was a kid, so it's Aunt Bunny.
Okay.
I think everyone should have an Aunt Bunny.
I think they should. I think we all should have an Aunt Bunny.
Have you ever prescribed like an adolescence record to a patient?
I have not. I've had a discussion about the adolescence though with a person. It's like there was a guy just 2 days ago when I was in the hospital working. Well, I did that interview for Channel 5, and I was walking out, and there was a new tech that was there, and it was like, "Are you Daryl Wilson?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I should be doctor to you, tech. I didn't say that though. He's like, "Yeah, man, I love your stuff, man. I love what you do, man. Bollweevils." And then he brought up a song, like the song "Wrong from Right," like really old song. I'm like, he's a real one.
Yeah.
Like, look at you, dude. Look at you coming in there. All right, you can call me Daryl. But no, I mean, if I prescribed an adolescence record, no, I've not done that. If I prescribed people to, or at least discuss the need for people to have some kind of artistic, outlet, yes, I've said that to people because I think that a lot of people are unbalanced.
I think a lot of people are unbalanced. We're all going super fast at everything we do.
Mm-hmm. And you don't take time to notice things around you. It's like the only way you notice is by looking back on what you filmed with your phone or in your selfie picture.
Can we just agree that we're done with the influencer age? Can we just be people again?
I guess, but I'm kind of an influencer though.
But no, you're not. You're not shilling for some weird digital e-commerce company.
No, but isn't everybody shilling for their own ego and to conflate themselves, to make themselves feel like they're important? Does everybody do that? I mean, even if you're not doing it online.
I think there's a difference. There's a difference between promotion and influencer behavior. We all promote.
No, you're okay, but don't we as human beings have this innate want, which is completely false, to have influence over the way things work? Because we really don't. Everybody believes they do, and in reality, the outcomes are not in your control. So if you just realize that, then you can naturally just be. I think that's what it is. I think once you realize that the things you do don't make the needle move anywhere, so just be you. And then people will like you. Maybe. And if they don't, who fucking cares? It's like
who fucking
It's
cares?
like, who cares? It's like it doesn't matter.
But that said, Daryl, don't forget to smash that like button on YouTube for Car Carne.
Or just say who fucking cares and smash it too. Smash the fucking button.
Smash the fucking... Don't forget to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
And don't forget to buy Essential and vote for us on anything you see. Best record ever made.
Best record ever made.
No,
The Bollweevils.
one of the best records ever made.
This is your Dark Side of the Moon.
I would say, let's prescribe this record to you. It's essential that you take it.
It is essential. This is your physical graffiti. This is your appetite for destruction.
It's what we've left. It's my GNR instead of DNR. It's the new song that I'm going to have to write because you forced me down the pathway because you did influence me.
I did.
As an influencer.
I peddled it.
You peddled it.
So again, this interview was
you can
totally
backpedal that now. So
this interview was totally impromptu, and when I do interviews, you know this, Daryl. I'm always prepared. I always have notes. I always have questions.
You're one of the best interviewers around. Even if you look at it, you know how to, take every situation and kind of bend it just a little bit. I mean, really, it is amazing the way I've seen you do these interviews, and you're just fantastic.
Thank you.
It's like it's enjoyable because you can see the joy you have doing it, number one.
I do love doing this.
Number two, the guests are really interacting with you all the time. It's like they appreciate that. You can tell they appreciate that. And you know how to take things that go off the rails and bring them back. You also know how to kind of pull along things that may not be going a certain way.
Sure.
So though I just said that whole thing of you have no influence on what happens, you kind of do, James. So maybe you are outside of time and space. You're like one of these time masters or something, or space.
I am a time master.
You
know what the difference is? It really is with this podcast, I think, that we're in a car. Like when you're in close quarters, it's impossible not to be engaged.
Yes.
You can't check out.
No.
You're not on a Zoom call, which I do digital or Zoom or Teams interviews sparingly.
Right.
I think I still have PTSD from 2020, 2021. I don't want to do that again. But it's so different to have you next to me.
Yeah. No, but that's the whole thing with human interaction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's much more meaningful, and it's harder to become disengaged when someone is right there with you.
For sure.
I mean, but the way that a lot of communication occurs now, which is not even nonverbal, because nonverbal communication happens with our body language and things like that. So you can tell how something's going, so you can start trying to adjust things. But when you're distant and it's digital, you may be able to catch some cues, but they're harder to catch.
I hate it.
And it's like, and by the time you catch it, it's a little late, and things have already gone way off the rails, and it's hard to pull back from those things. And I think the way that we communicate, through digital mediums, it's so not real, but it is real, right? That's what some people have grown up only doing that. And so then when you try to have these conversations with people at different stages of life, it might be more difficult to do this kind of personal thing with them because you're not accustomed to it.
You're right.
I mean, it's like anything. I mean, we deal with it all the time. And we just gave our daughters, mobile devices.
I held back for a very long time.
Yeah, we just did that. And, we have control over the time that they're on them and things like that. But even then, it's like, boy, it's like they're going to have like just cervical spine injuries by just looking down at their things all the time. But you know what the worst thing is? I'm a horrible example of that, though, right? Because I'm on my device all the time for either answering an email or just looking at stupid stuff that has no bearing on anything. And then, so how can I enforce wanting them to engage better when I'm just as shitty, right? I mean, it's like, it's like that whole PSA on, what is this, Tommy? What is this? Are these drugs? Where'd you learn this? I learned from you, Dad. It's like, what are you doing? You on social media? What the hell's going on? What is this? I learned it from you, Dad. It's like, that's the same thing.
It is. Well, to take it back, I prepare notes for all the interviews I do.
You brought it back again?
You're one of the few people where I can think, yeah, if we just wing it, we'll be fine.
Right. Like, and we could land a plane if we needed to.
Yeah, I mean, there are maybe 5 guests that I've had on this show, 5 friends I've had on this show where I'd feel comfortable just making it up as we go. You're obviously one of them.
Right. It's like, it's like that whole thing of like, hey, let me call Daryl and see if he can actually come out to play right now in the cold.
Well, okay.
That's kind of what it was.
So I mentioned the last time I did an interview in this general area, after I posted it, you sent me a message. I don't even know if it was direct or if it was on social media.
Oh, it's direct.
Like, What, you're in my area and you don't reach out? So I was supposed to originally do this interview last week, and I reached out saying, hey, I'm going to be in your area, and I think you were working at the hospital. And then the interview last weekend got rescheduled for today. I'm like, I'm not going to bother Daryl. It's 0 degrees outside. I'm in his area, but I don't want to ask or have you feel pressure to come out on a day when no one should be outside. And then here we are. I got blown off. And
listen, here's the thing. If there's an opportunity to hang out with you as my friend at any time, I'm going to take that because you don't know when you have your last moment. So, I mean, like I said to you before, like these moments, I cherish them because it's like you're my friend and it's opportunity. And if we get the opportunity, why not take it? Because if you don't, then you have regret, right? You know, at that point, I don't want to live with regret. I want to make sure that I get to hang out with my family. You get to come with your family too. You get to hang out with us. You get some banana bread, you know.
Which was delicious.
It's like, why not? Opportunity. It's like, why would I say no? You know, unless I was like really indisposed and couldn't do it, then of course I'm going to spend that time with you. That's a given. And you should do that too when you're out there with your family, friends, or whatever. Just, you don't take the opportunity and then suddenly that person's gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, I should have hung out with them. I wish I did. And instead of wishing to do it, just fucking do it. Seriously, just fucking do it.
Just fucking do it. I agree. So, thank you for doing this impromptu. This was the most impromptu interview I've done on this podcast.
It was. It was probably the shittiest one, too.
No, stop it. So, you are Dr. Daryl Wilson of the Bollweevils. Essential is the latest album. Obviously, there's more to come, as discussed earlier in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
I adore you. Thank you for doing this.
I adore you, too, my friend. Seriously. It's awesome.